Hello everyone, this is Chad Redding here with Ruck Outdoors, and once again welcome to the Warren. Today I'm going to be doing the last of a series of 3 videos on 3 military surplus rucks that I feel are good choices for day hikes or overnights. These 3 rucks all have some things in common. First, they're European military surplus. These are not the 3-day assault packs. These are not American. So we are not comparing this to the Alice or, like I said, the 3-day assault packs. They don't have any molly. You know, these are all, you know, kind of classic looking rucks. You know, very classic looking. They're made of either canvas or a canvas twill. And they're all 25 to 35 liters in size. So, you know, these are something you can take out, like I said, on a day hike or use for a minimalist overnight. And for some of you who even use less, this might be a multi-day, you know, ruck, especially the one. So let's get on with it. So recapping real quickly. The first ruck I did was the Italian Alpine ruck. Nice little ruck. The only reason that I classed that one as last of the 3 was the fact that it was smaller in capacity. They say 30, but I'd say it's closer to 25 in the main pack. And didn't like the straps. I mean, the straps, you know, if you're a larger gentleman, there is no way you're going to be able to wear this thing right out of the box. And that's how I'm looking at these, by the way. I'm looking at these as if you were to buy them, take them straight from the surplus store or online and use them, you know, right out of the box without any modification. So that's how we're looking at these. You know, we're not looking at them as from modification potential. Believe me, the one if I was looking at it from modification potential would be number 1, wouldn't be number 2. Anyways, that was the Italian Alpine ruck, you know, and that's why I didn't like it, was the straps were small and the capacity. Other than that, built like a tank, strong, you know. Number 1 as far as waterproofing goes. You know, it's got that PVC or whatever coating they use in spades and is very waterproof. The second ruck that I, you know, classed as number 2, and believe me, this thing was almost number 1. I mean, it's, you know, some were going to argue with me and say it should be number 1, and believe me, it was a really hard choice, and that's the Swedish LK35. And the only reason I class it as number 2, and like I said, these are by my criteria, is the straps. Once again, it just has 2 straps, no sternum strap, no waist belt. I'm a guy who likes to have at least a sternum strap. I just feel it's important, and you know, a good waist belt's always good to have. That and the lack of side pockets, and that's just me. I like having side pockets. I like being able to put my water bottles on the side. I like being able to just loosen my ruck up, swing it around, take the water bottle out, take a drink, put it back in, and put it back. And you know, also being able to have, you know, if I'm not using a haversack, you know, being able to access some things without having to open up the whole ruck. That's the only reason. The only 2 reasons the LK35 is number 2. Believe me, if it weren't for those, it would be number 1. So anyways, let's get to number 1. Here it is, the Bundeswehr or German Alpine ruck, number 1. And just for the patches, give these guys a shout out. Spirit of the Woods, a Christian bushcraft group on Facebook, run by Shane Witt. Awesome group, awesome set of people, just awesome people to talk to. Gospin Polaris, you know, Stella Design. You know, hands down, one, if not the best knife I've ever used. Hidden Woodsman, not all who wander are lost. Hidden Woodsman, big fan of Malcolm's gear. Anyways, the Bundeswehr or German Alpine ruck. Color-wise, out of these 3 rucks, all of them are green. There are no other choices for color except for this one. There are 2 other choices other than the olive drab green for the the German Alpine Ruck. I've seen them in black and also in German Flecktarn, which is this camo here, like my hat. So you do have 3 options for color. I would say the Flecktarn's a little harder to find, but it's out there. You know, this is the most common, the olive drab green. So right off the bat, let's start at the top. So we have a strap, hand hold, or whatever you want to call it, just like the Italian Ruck. It's, you know, a good piece of webbing. It's strong. I've hung this thing with a ton of weight on it, and you know, it hasn't ripped or torn. None of the seams have torn on this thing. You know, it's built like a tank. You know, I have some other German surplus items, and the Germans just make really good, strong stuff. The lid is nice and long, and what's nice is, you know, you can, if you adjust these buckles up to the full extent, you can see, you know, it's got a lot of room there. So if you have this main pack filled, you can get something underneath there, you know, bedroll or whatever, and, you know, use the lid to hold it down. Another nice option are these there's 4 D-rings. You can see it in the camera there on top of the lid. 2 here, 2 there, and they're made of plastic, but I will tell you this, they're strong. I mean, they're very strong. I'm not saying you can't break them, but you'd be hard pressed to break these things. They also got like a little notch in them. Let's see if I can get it so you can see it. So if you use paracord instead of like a strap, it will kind of ride in there and cinch down tighter. Another nice thing is you got lots of adjustability with the lid, like I showed you, and Fast X buckles, Fast X style buckles. Once again, plastic, clicks, you know, pop, you're open. You know, you don't, no fiddling around. You know, you can open this thing up and, you know, and go. The main compartment, you have a drawstring, lots of length. Yeah, the typical barrel closure like that. So you don't have that weird closure like the Swedish Ruck does, and, you know, very simple, very effective, works awesome. You have one main part, and then you have a second pocket right here that goes all the way to the bottom, and then you have 2 Velcro closures on that pocket. And let me explain to you why that's like that. The German army uses a sleeping pad that folds into 3s, and in this Ruck, the Alpine Ruck and their German infantry pack, the sleeping pad is folded up, slid into that pocket, the Velcro closures go on it, and what that does is it stiffens the Rucks, stiffens them up, and then also stores the pad, so you don't have, you know, your sleeping pad hanging out here on the bottom or the top or wherever you decide to hang it. So it's not in the way, you know, it's not going to catch on anything. You know, it serves a dual purpose, and you'll find that out a lot with the Germans. They do a lot of stuff like that. It just, you know, really well thought out, at least in my mind. So what I did, I put a PVC frame in there, just made a simple square PVC frame to stiffen the Ruck up. That way I can still put stuff in there and I still get the stiffness. And believe me, it makes a difference on this thing. You know, this is not a framed Ruck, which, believe me, was something, you know, something that was hard for me to choose between the LK35 and this one. Was I like external frame Rucks, but this thing, as far as usability, you know, just has a lot over the LK35. So you have a frame, you know, added that, made it stiff. Some guys will put in a sheet of plastic. Some guys will put, you know, cut other thicker sleeping pads and slide them in there. You know, you just got a lot of options of what you can do there. On the front of the Ruck, I'm going to buckle this up real quick. See, the webbing continues down the front, and what they did is they left it open here, here, and here. And what you can do there is you can put a set of carabiners or D-rings or something like that. I've seen guys put metal D-rings. They've replaced these with metal. And you know, if you put 2 metal D-rings here, you could run a bedroll strap easily underneath there and carry stuff on the bottom of this ruck. As you can see, there is no bedroll straps on the bottom. And while we're here, you got this, you know, pretty tough leather or PVC bottom, and you know, it's pretty tough. You know, mine's wearing out, but I've beaten the crap out of this thing. I've had this thing for a while. You know, this was my first pack that I've really used hard. Another nice feature are these side pockets. You got 2, one on each side. Both of them are pass-through. As you can see, I get my arm through there, and you can, you know, I just simply slid my tomahawk or my axe right through there, and you know, it just hangs there. I mean, they're stitched pretty strongly. I mean, this thing, I've had miles and miles and miles on this thing, and nothing, you know, it hasn't ripped at all. You know, very, very strong, and that's another thing I like about this particular ruck. So you can put your tomahawk or axe, whatever you want in there, and you know, just off you go. One bad thing about these pockets: they're small, they're narrow. You know, they're not very big. You know, they do have, you know, a fast X buckle. They do have adjustability. They are lined with that same plastic liner, but they're narrow, so you're not going to be getting your heavy cover canteen or your Self-Reliance Outfitters canteen in there. You know, I've put a 48-ounce bottle in these things, but that's just squeeze. You know, I really had to push it down it. So a 36-ounce would, you know, would fit in there well. For those of you who backpack and know the backpacking hack of using the life water bottles that are real long and narrow, drop right in. You know, we'll work all day long. So that's the one downside thing about this ruck that I don't like. Straps. If you haven't noticed by now, really beefy, you know, canvas, you know, strong straps, comfortable, super, super comfortable right out of the box. You know, I can throw this thing on, bam, ready to go, easily adjust, pull, you can loosen it up, you know, super comfortable. No sternum strap. You could add one. I mean, easily add one. I haven't. I haven't needed it for this ruck. You know, it's that comfortable. I haven't had a problem with this thing. So sternum strap, there is no sternum strap. That's the one downside. There is a waist belt, if you can see it. A little narrow. It's just a piece of webbing with, again, with a fast X buckle. So does it distribute the weight, the waist belt? It helps a little, but I would say it's more to keep the ruck from swinging side to side. So, you know, I do a lot of rock scrambling when I hike because I like hard terrain. So when I'm scrambling, if I have this ruck, it doesn't swing side to side. It holds still. You know, it does really well. So, you know, price, you know, price $30 all day long. $30 all day long. I've seen them for a little more. I've seen them for a little less, but 30 bucks. You can find these $30, relatively easy. And like I said, there's 3 color options. You have an olive drab, you have a black, and you have the, like I said, like my hat, you have the fleck tarn. So for those of you who are looking for a camo, so, you know, just a really good out of the box option, you know, for a beginning bushcrafter. You know, it doesn't have molly or anything like that, but you know, still a really, really nice option and a lot of bang for the buck. And that's why I chose this one for my number 1 versus the other 2. So just a quick recap. Number 3, we had the Alpine ruck. Number 2, we had the LK35. Believe me, it was almost number 1. Was almost number 1 from my opinion. And number 1 was the Bundeswehr or German Alpine ruck. And you know, like I just showed you, that thing has a lot going for it, you know, as far as strength and durability and everything. You know, it's just a really good option. Prices, like I said, German ruck was $30 all day long. Easy. I would say it's probably the easiest to find out of the 2. The LK35, and here in the States, a really good one is going for $50. Something to look for on the LK35 is, you know, check the frame for rust. There's some thin pieces in the steel frame. They can rust at where the welds are, so just keep an eye on that. But it's something you can fix. The Alpine Ruck, $25. I wouldn't go any more. You know, just for what you're getting. You know, $25 all day long. I wouldn't go much more than that. $30 if you're really hard pressed to get one. But anyhow, that was the first 3 Ruck reviews. You know, the first series. We're going to be having more coming. You know, I'm going to be doing more. I got much more in my collection that I've tried, and you know, I just got to get around to showing you. You know, just off bat, we got the Alice Ruck, obviously. The actual Molly Ruck, I'm going to use a Molly, the one with ACU, so give you my impressions of that. I've used the Molly frame in my Hidden Woodsman, and I didn't mind it. I liked it, but we'll get into that later. And you know, we just got some other ones coming, so just keep that in mind, you know. And I'll be putting more of these out, because this was something I wanted to do and really wanted to do off the bat, and then just I got sidetracked with other things, and here we are now. So anyways, till next time, fair weather and safe journeys.